Time for the press box with Mary and Larry. It's cold outside, but the opinions inside are hot. Mine are probably a little more lukewarm, to be honest, but let's go, Mary. In regards to the Dallas Cowboys head coach opening, Cowboys legend Troy Aikman said he doesn't consider it a coveted job. What say you, Mary?
Well, I thought that was a very important thing for Troy Aikman to say, to spew that kind of honesty to a fan base that really knows that. That's a true statement. If you look over the course of the past few decades, that's an honest depiction of what being the Dallas Cowboys head coach looks like. Now, moving forward, that could change. It doesn't have to be that way, but so far from what we've seen, I think Troy Aikman was pretty spot on with that statement. Yeah,
it's definitely a high-profile job, probably not as coveted as it once was, and that's because Jerry Jones is the team's general manager. There are some people out there that really don't want to coach under him, and that leads us to our next topic. Deion Sanders and Kellen Moore are two of the many names in the mix. Aikman also said he thinks most football people that take over as head coach want to do it on their terms, and that's hard to do, end quote, and that's a jab at Jerry. That said, does it matter who the Cowboys bring in, Mary, as their head coach if Jerry Jones is still the general manager, which of course he is?
All right, we saw it all over social media today, so we've got to bring it up. The Dallas Cowboys are the only team in the NFC that hasn't played in an NFC Championship game in 28 years. Yep. I'm 27 years old, so I haven't seen it in my lifetime. And if I'm not mistaken, 7 coaches in that time span. So that tells you everything you need to know right there. 7 coaches, nothing to show for it.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough.
Hey, and we've talked about this kind of quickly in shows in the past, and I think as long as Jerry is the general manager, it doesn't matter who you bring in because Jerry calls the shots. I mean, there's no other team owner or general manager, specifically team owner, that meets with the media after every single game. I mean, it's about Jerry. Jerry's a marketing genius, but he's lacking in his GM skills, that's for sure. All right, who wins the AFC and NFC Championship games, advancing to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans? You have the Bills and Chiefs in one, and the Commanders and Eagles in the other.
You know, I don't think anyone watching us right now predicted that the Washington Commanders would be in the NFC Championship game. No. But I got to just keep writing the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, what a show they put on to advance to this point. I didn't think the Eagles looked overwhelmingly convincing against the Rams today. So, hey, why not predict Jaden Daniels to go all the way? And then on the other side, I'll call my shot. The Bills this year are the ones to dethrone the Chiefs.
Okay, because I am going with the Commanders. Same thing, Jaden Daniels, awesome young quarterback.
Great story.
And they have just the right pieces, I think, to be able to top the Eagles. In the other game, I really want to see the Bills. I think it's going to be the Chiefs just because until you knock them off, it's the Chiefs to me. And plus, let's just say they do tend to get a little bit of help here and there. So, especially when they're at home. And Mary,
we saw it.
Yeah, quickly, I heard you were up and down today in the sports department during the Rams game.
Yes, Rams fan, I have to admit. Everyone, if you follow me on social media, you know that by now. And it was a tough way to see the Rams go out, and worried about Stafford's future, but we'll see. All
right, moving on. The Spurs have lost 3 straight by an average of 21 points per game. They're now 2-6 in January. Mary, what's going on with them?
Man, those second halves, they've been outscored by a 72-point margin in the last 3 games, and they just faced 2 really good opponents in Memphis and Miami. Like Coach Mitch Johnson said after the game, they got exposed, so they have some key things to address, and it's unfortunate they're experiencing this before Paris.
Yeah, and they started off January with the second toughest record schedule in the NBA for January. I don't remember who had the toughest. I think it might have been OKC. Yeah, but the Spurs, second toughest in January. And yeah, these good teams are really exposing the Spurs. Their transition defense, yeah, they really got to work on that. And Wemby does need some help. He's awesome at both ends of the court, but you can't expect him to carry that all game long. So they also need to find consistency. Thanks, Mayor.
Awesome.
That'll do it for the press box.